Good day. I am Louise Lawrence Rose, and I am here to talk to you today about your psychosocial health as an educator. You know, it's COVID times, and this is a problem that is affecting the whole world, and teachers are not exempt. And I'd like to think of teachers as one of our first responders. You know, we talk about our healthcare professionals, we talk about our uh, service people or police officers, etc. But teachers, educators on a whole are among those first responders, and you are expected to prepare lessons just the same. You're expected to ensure that the business of education continues, and you have your own psychosocial health to deal with. And so I hope that you have been managing well. I hope that you've been coping well. I hope that you are very in tune with yourself so that you know if there are aspects of self-care that are being neglected, that you will know how to manage those before it gets very serious. I know as a teacher myself, as an educator, we tend to be people who give even more than we take. We're always thinking about, you know, the next child to help, the next project to do, the next objective to meet. But we often are exhausted at the end of the day and don't give enough time to personal self-care. So I hope that in this session, we'll be able to talk about that and how we can better manage as educators. I'd like to give credit to the content of this presentation to the Guidance and Counseling Unit of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. We used this presentation some years ago with teachers, and I know that there's still benefit in it today for you. And so without further ado, we're going to go into it. We're going to call it psychosocial support for our teachers. The objective will be to provide teachers with additional techniques for organizing and managing effectively during the COVID-19 pandemic. Just remember that everyone has cognitive and affective reactions to their experiences. So when something happens, you're going to experience it cognitively and also affectively, emotionally, it's going to affect you. The ability to identify what is happening and your reactions is very, very critical. So we ask that you reflect after occurrences, after actions, before actions, while in actions. We ask that you reflect. We ask that you journal your experiences at the end of a day. We ask that you give yourself time, you know, to process things and to chart new courses of behavior so that you can become mindful in your experiences and in your progress. Remember also that our reaction at times impact the way we communicate with others. So we have to watch how we react. And, you know, if our reaction is not, you know, normal, we want to find out what is happening first by questioning ourselves, by questioning others. You know, we can have accountability partners, persons who we talk to about issues and find out if there's something that they are observing that you're not, and chart a course forward. All right, remember too that our personal context shape the lens through which we view our interactions and see the world. So we are going to see through our own personal lens, but then, as I said before, we need to invite, the view of others into our lives to see if we have that complete picture. Your personal context is dynamic and it's formulated through your life as a result of your experiences, your values, your culture, among so many other factors. And I want you to know that your experience is valid. Okay, I just started writing a report this morning about an incident with my daughter at school. And, even though it it's her experience. She's not able to, frame her words so coherently, but I'm trying to help her work through her experience. Everybody's experience is valid and your story is important. All right. So let's look at it. I want you to start by thinking of an interaction between yourself and it could be another family member recently, it could be a staff member, it could be a student, it could be a parent. That was not very positive. I want you to think about it. Think about how it was resolved. How did you, resolve it? How did you react? How did you respond during this incident? How did you feel about it then? How do you feel about it now? I mean, those incidents are regular occurrences, and I guess you can pick from even several, but let us process one of them and see if there are any new actions that we think we would take if we are confronted with a similar incident today. Remember that your psychosocial wellness encompasses all of your being. So it takes in your emotional self, your mental self, your social being, your spiritual being, your physical being. So all of you is a part of this wellness framework. So with that incident, it would have affected all aspects of yourself, emotionally, mentally, socially, spiritually, and physically. Let's take a look at each aspect of your psychosocial well-being. The spiritual wellness is very personal. It involves your own ideas, your values, your beliefs, your ethics, and they arise in your mind and consciousness, and even your subconscious. It plays a great role in moving your achievement in all aspects of your life. So the spiritual, we put that one first because persons, it's very, very important, and persons tend to even go to their spiritual side even first. So for me, in the morning when I get up, I always, if I don't even get to do a thorough devotion, I try to even say a prayer. Some people reflect, some people, just read or go into nature, whatever that spiritual side is. It's always very important to nurture. All right, let's look at your social wellness. This involves your ability to form satisfying interpersonal relationships with others. It also relates to adapting comfortably to social situations and acting appropriately in a variety of settings. So socially, we know that, we have our friends, we have our neighbors, even our family members that we socialize with and who we form relationships with. These relationships, we should assess and see how healthy they are and how, how healthy they are to us. So we will know when they are not meeting our needs and expectations and how to break them off appropriately. And and also we have to assess how we act in relationship to others socially. Do others see us, as that friend that they can talk to, they can confide in, and who they'd like to hang out with, and so on, or, they want to avoid us. So that is very important to think about as we reflect. Let's look at the psychosocial, uh, uh, emotional well-being rather. This is feeling emotionally secure within yourself, be able to relax with an open mind and an open heart, have healthy emotions, and have a healthy self-esteem. So emotionally, this has to do with how you feel, right? Are you secure within yourself? Are you relaxed? Do you have an open mind and an open heart? Or feel very close and very bitter, and you want to avoid people? Have you been hurt and you've not been dealing with these aspects of hurt, and so you withdraw from others, you become bitter? Or are you a healthy, healed, forgiving individual who is in tune with your feelings and your emotions? Um, there is mental wellness, and mental wellness is a taboo, for some people. Some people, when they hear the word mental, it becomes a problem immediately. I remember my nephew, um, I told him that he needs to be a part of a mentorship program at school. And for some reason, he heard mental in what I said, and he kept avoiding the meeting at school. And I confronted him and I said, why didn't you go to the guidance counselor? Because I signed you up for mentorship. And he said, he thought I said mentalship. So nothing is wrong with his head, so he's not going. He's a preteen. So people are just sensitive, very sensitive about the word mental, and nobody wants to think that something is wrong with their psyche or something is going off there. And so, I had to have that conversation with him and ask him to, process all of that, and what are his fears, and so on and so forth. So mental wellness includes your ability to cope with the normal stresses of life, working productively and fruitfully, and making positive contributions. So it's a coping skill, and to know when something is off and you're not coping. And I know with the pandemic, there's so many things that are off. We're all kind of just trying to cope each day in our own way. And so there are many, many factors that will affect mental health. And it's very, very important that we consider these factors, that they are going to be unique to every individual and every situation, but you have to be so sensitive about your mental health and to see, when you're not coping, do you need some more time to complete a project? Do you need some more time to get some more rest? Do you need more water? Hydration is so very important when it comes on to mental health. And I have learned that hydration is an antidote for many mental health and physical health issues. So please, I'm asking you to keep hydrated and rehydrated, because that also affects your mental health. So think about it. What is it that is affecting your ability to cope optimally, and that is preventing you from working productively and fruitfully and making positive contributions? We need to get a tab on that and we need to work at it. I know for us, when we talk about mental health, it's perhaps not at the forefront of health issues. We want to get it there because it's very, very important. It affects every other aspect of health, because, all of our aspects of our being are interrelated. It's like the Bible would say, can the hand say, I'm not of the body, or the feet say, I'm not of the body, or the eye? So everything works together for the harmonious contribution to the whole self. So every aspect is important. Physical wellness, that one is the one that we often hear about. And, it's always at the forefront. So I intentionally put it at the last. So physical wellness is your overall condition of your soundness of body, your freedom from disease or abnormality, and the condition of optimal well-being, right? The body is functioning as it is designed to function. So the different parts of your body, we sing the song, I'm so happy, I feel so good, every little cell in my body is well, kind of thing, right? So we want to make sure that the body is functioning optimally. Now let's look at some tips for wellness. The first one is meditation and prayer. I can't get through a day without meditating and praying. And usually I try to do that the first thing, as I said before. This is very important and it will help you to be well. Even if you're going through the day and you find yourself with a difficulty, just saying a prayer right there can help. It has helped me, it has helped others, and I know it can help you too. Music, playing music, listening to music, dancing, that is so therapeutic. I know for one incident in my life when, it was so traumatic. The most I could do was to find some music. I didn't even know of that song before. I was just searching the internet and I found this beautiful song and I dance. I dance and I dance. And it was very therapeutic. I remember it till today. So I encourage you to dance, listen to music. The next one is breathe. Inhale, exhale. Fill up your lungs with clean air regularly and let it out. Deep breathing helps us to calm down. If you find yourself in a situation where, you're getting very anxious, breathe deeply and just feel, your cells just relaxing and you coming to that equilibrium. And just practice it. Time yourself, breathe, breathe. If the deadline is coming up, just breathe. And as I am saying that to you, I have a deadline coming up, but I'm gonna breathe about it, right? Manage stress. Stress management is very important. It involves your own technique. What is it that you do to manage stress? Do you stretch? Do you rest? Do you play a light game? Do you watch a comedy and laugh about it? Do you, and sometimes the most important stress management technique is dealing with what is stressing us. I once had a client who she was pregnant and she didn't want to deal with it. She didn't want to, oh, well, she didn't know. She suspected that she was pregnant. Found out later on that she was pregnant, but she just didn't want to go and take that test. She didn't want to, she wants to know, but she was afraid of the consequences. But I said to her, the only thing to do is to find out, and then you will deal with it from there. So to know is the greatest thing, right? So she went and she did the test and she was pregnant. And then she's able to deal with the consequences after that. But sometimes the things that are stressing us, we avoid them. But the most important thing is to confront in a good way the things that are stressing us and deal with it. All right. Let's talk about some wellness tips for dealing with issues that are escalating. All right, so let's talk about when we find out that this is a problem, but it starts to add new layers and layers and layers, and how we deal with that before we it gets into what we call now a crisis. So we have this technique that we call the Pepsi challenge, right? So everybody knows Pepsi, right? And just imagine you have a bottle of Pepsi and you, it's very, very cold and it's time you want to open it, right? It sounds very refreshing. However, and I want you to actually get your own bottle of Pepsi and try this. Pretend that this bottle is an individual. Pretend that the bottle is you and you are facing some challenges, and shake the bottle a little and just say one of the issues that you're facing, and shake it again and think about and say something else about what you're facing. And usually it's a negative experience. Think about another one, shake the bottle and say something else to it. What is really happening is that tension is being built up in the bottle, right? And after doing that 5 or 10 times, do you think you would be very, eager to open the bottle? Or you'll be very cautious about it? Of course, we'll be very cautious about it because we know that because of the pent-up energy, because of all of the carbon dioxide and how we have been shaking it and making it fizz, it will likely explode when we open it. And so it is with us. When we have layers and layers and layers of issues which are negative and we don't deal with them, we get to that point of very, very severe stress and tension. And then the least thing that happens or is said, it causes us to pop, causes us to explode because we are in that state of, tension. So the reverse to deal with the Pepsi challenge is to say something positive, or something positive that happened to you as an individual, and take a little time and release a little of the tension, a little at a time. Open the bottle and release a little of the carbon dioxide as you say something positive, or relate a positive experience, and then you watch the bottle deflate. And so it is with us. When we put in, the work, when we deal with the negative things and remove them one by one. Now, some things won't be able to be removed so easily, but at least you reduce the negative impact on yourself. And so, right, so I have to give a little give and take for these little ones that I have to care for. So yes, that illustration, that kind of um, reflection, I hope it gets you into thinking more about how you deal with things that are escalating and how you are going to think about dealing with them in the future. So we want you to identify factors that contribute to escalation in yourself and using negative reactions. And we want you to journal those. We want you to, process them. And we want you to replace some old ways of dealing with your issues with new, and innovative ways. Because the old roads we walk on, they just take us to the same paths. But if we create some new pathways in our minds, it will lead us to a different outcome. So think about what are some critical and effective words and actions that you can use to assist yourself with de-escalating. Remember the Bible says that a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So we need to say some good things to ourselves. We need to say some good things to others to help to reduce the likelihood that things will, escalate. What about uh, the exercise that was most meaningful to you? And what does it cause you to reflect on? How much time do you need to process it? You can do it over and over again and just think about your issues and go back on them. And as long as you deal with them squarely, then you will feel comfortable to move on from them. But remember that the delay will lead to more, tension bottles, in our bottles. And so we want to make sure that we are deflated. We need to teach ourselves new behaviors. Research shows that it takes up to 21 days to learn a new behavior. And so if we want it, we have to teach ourselves it. And if we expect to maintain it, we have to encourage it. And we have to acknowledge it and we have to reinforce it. So we have to be consistent. We have to be intentional about behavior, especially new behaviors that we want to learn. So this morning, I pray that we would have learned something from our reflection together. You may learn something new about yourself. You may commit to, challenging the issues of life in a different way, in a way that will have a more positive outcome for you and for others, but especially for you. Um, I want you to think about the times that we're in and how you can come out on the other side, a more wholesome individual by managing all the aspects of yourself in a positive manner and in a manner that will, you know, you can look back on years to come and say, I'm proud of the way I dealt with the situation. I'm proud of the way I treated myself. And let us remember that even as we think about every day the care of others and how we are going to be pouring into them, please budget, manage some time for pouring into yourself. You matter. Take the time do the work, come out better on the other side. Have a great day. Bye-bye.